Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on where you're tuning in from. Welcome to the Winning at Being You podcast. I'm your host, Coach Mills Rogers. This is a space where we have real conversations with people who are using their voice, their experiences, and their purpose to create impact, not just for themselves, but for others. Today, I am super excited to be joined by activist Kefus Thomas. We're going to talk about leadership, transformation, and what it actually looks like to win at being who you are without pretending or performing. If you're watching live, feel free to drop where you're watching from in the comments. If you're watching on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. Now, let's get into it. Kefus Thomas is a grassroots activist and community advocate who uses his voice and platform to bring attention to issues that matter, encourage community development, and call people toward action. He caught my attention because of one thing, his consistency. We're originally connected because he's from my hometown, Ville Platte, Louisiana. Kefus stood out to me because of his passion for people and his commitment to speaking up. His work is rooted in a simple but powerful belief. Communities get stronger when more people are willing to care, serve, and use their voice. He has also served as a volunteer counselor with the Boys and Girls Club in Southeast Houston, reflecting his heart for young people, families, and the future of the community. And so with that being said, my brother Kefus Thomas, so glad to have you this afternoon, or tonight actually.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. It is an honor and a privilege to be on your show um, this evening. Being that you are from Ville Platte, my hometown, I don't think we ever met before. I think we like 3 years apart.
Yeah.
I think, I think we like 3 years apart. I think you and my cousin, y'all graduated together. My cousin Kelly Thomas.
Yeah. Kelly, man. Me and
Yeah.
Kelly are pretty tight. I talked to Kelly just the other day. And so, yeah, man, I do remember seeing you around and stuff, but no, we never really hung out or anything like that. So,
Yes.
but again, I've just been watching you, been peeping you from afar with everything that you do. And so I just really admire your platform. And I just feel like it would just be a very cool conversation to have.
Yes.
And so, yeah. So with that, man, when did you first realize you had a heart for speaking up and standing up for your community?
Well, actually, the inception and the genesis of all of this is actually I was inspired at a very young age by Dr. M.L. Thomas, who is the pastor of the Night Baptist Church, Dr. E. Radley Ben, and locally, but nationally, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, actually Fred Hampton, Carl Hampton. I followed those guys, and then actually it all started whenever Miss Gloria Frank, she was the first Black female councilwoman, and I passed out some flyers for her.
And that was in Ville Platte, right?
And yes, and that was in
Hmm.
Ville Platte. I was like 14 years old, and I was just passing out flyers, and she won the election, and I felt like I was a part of something. And she was always speaking about, hey, hey guys, y'all young, but y'all have a voice, and y'all could be effective also. So it all started there, and then after that, my love for rap, hip hop, that was really the start too, because I used to listen to KRS-One. I used to listen to Melly Mel, NWA. I was a fan of Nas and all that stuff, and they was talking about some real stuff about being active. Talking about talking about standing up. In the community. And then in 1989, the Central Park Five. Those guys was like the same age as me, and they was convicted for something that they did not do. And that's the thing that got me to be more involved. But also my first time speaking was it was crosstown at the projects on Shatanya Street, where um, Brother Van Roussel, he was a activist because he was a recovering drug addict,
Hmm.
and he was going out in the streets speaking out, trying to stop people from becoming addicts, stopping people from going to jail. He seen that a lot of youth was going in the wrong way, and he gave me a platform because he said, "Look, you are the same age as them, and you're doing very positive things. So I want you to come out and speak." And I spoke over there, and boy, I was scared. I was nervous because I was young, all that stuff. But
Now, did
but
you write it out or did you just kind of talk,
no,
off the
no.
top?
Actually, Mills, I did that impromptu. It was
Hmm.
very impromptu, and it was very impromptu. And everybody said, "Man, you did well." And I thought I stunk up the joint, but they said, "Man, you did well." And then my second time speaking in Ville Platte was on Pine Street, on the old Pine Street, which is now Martin Luther King now.
Right.
And I spoke at Miss what's her name, Miss
Joyce?
DeVille. Yeah, Miss Joyce
Joyce
DeVille
Thomas. Oh,
at the corner of Pine Street and Dr. Carver Street.
right.
And I spoke for like 5 minutes there. And actually, I was like, I think I like this stuff, this activism stuff, because not only am I not only that I'm better myself, but I'm helping others out at the same time. So I got a joy, I got a joy from that. And actually, I did that in the faith-based route. That's what I did. But also too, in the Corps, whenever I joined the military. I thought, well, I can't be too much of an activist there because ain't no justice. But there was a lot of injustice too in the service, and there was some things I stood up for because I knew I was right. So I figured, hey, I'm right, so I have to stand up for it.
Well,
Even
I know
though
I know you were in the Corps. I know in the Army they call it like a barracks lawyer or a barracks attorney. Were you one of those kind?
uh,
One of those type?
yeah, I was somewhat that a guy. So they say, yeah, you the Malcolm, Farrakhan. They used to call me that in the Corps. But I used to, I had to stand up, even though it probably would have cost me some rank or something. But I stood up, and they knew I was right. So actually things that got a little better, because at one time we had a race issue at one time, and one of our superior said a word that you shouldn't say. And actually me, I stood up, and I did everything right. I did the proper channels and everything. And that guy, actually he lost some rank actually
Oh
for
wow.
doing that. Yes. And man, I had people telling me, "Look, man, leave it alone, leave it alone." I said, "No, if I don't leave it alone, it's going to keep happening." You know,
Hmm.
and me, I was willing, like, hey, what? If I stay at E3, you know what? I'm gonna get out anyway. So I was like, okay, cool. You know,
Hmm. Man, that's great, man. I see somebody in the comments saying "Go Kefus," and so keep it up, man. That's a great story. So with that, man, I know sometimes when people have a voice and they step up like that, you know, sometimes people will fall back. Have you ever felt that way where it's Window said, "Hey, go Kefus." So he just put
Oh,
his
okay.
name in there. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
It's
I know him.
okay, cool. And so, yeah, man, being that person that is willing to use their voice, man, has there been any instances where somebody, they just kind of left you out there, or you felt that way, like they just left you out there, or does that even matter to you?
No, it doesn't really. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. But yes, I have felt that. A lot of times. Like, hey, stand back, man. Stand back, man. No, that's not your fight, man. It's not your fight. It's not the time for it. It's not the time for it. I say, when is the time? You know,
Huh. Mm.
when is it? Because if you wait and wait and wait, it's just gonna keep on happening and happening. So you have to stand up. You have to step up.
And so that kind of leads me to my next question. That's what keeps you speaking up even when the work gets frustrating, or maybe when you don't get the results, or when people don't respond. What keeps you going?
Well, actually, what keeps me going is that, with that, I'm setting a good example because if I stop, then I have a daughter, I have nieces and nephews who's looking at me and they saying, hey, if I stop, then they're going to stop. So you just have to keep on going, even though the odds are against you. You
Mm.
still have to keep on going. You still have to keep on fighting because if you're right, if you're right, you got to keep on going. Now, if I'm wrong, you know what? I'm gonna stand back if I'm wrong. But if I'm right and I got all my ducks in a row, hey, you know what? I just keep on going. But sometimes when you're right, sometimes you don't get the result. But you got to keep on fighting because the thing that keep me going, my heroes like Malcolm X, like Dr. King, like Dr. King is like the men's the it's like the gentleman I spoke about earlier. Um, Dr. M.L. Thomas, Dr. Eradley Ben, Arthur Sampson in our community. I see these guys that keep on fighting and they keep on fighting and they get results because sooner or later they will get tired of you.
Hmm. Wow. And so, the men that you just talked about, they're from Ville Platte. And so what are
Mhm.
some lessons that you learned from Ville Platte that help you with your causes and have made you the man that you are today?
Well, in Ville Platte, okay, we know that Ville Platte, had a lot of issues, but I seen these men like Dr. Thomas, Dr. Ben, Mr. Gervis, Coach Dossman, and all that stuff. I seen these guys; they were resilient. They were resilient, and they never gave up. They formed together as a cohesive unit. And they used their resource what they had because these guys, they were very intelligent guys. So I mean, the thing you have to do, you have to use your intelligence. You just have to use your intelligence. You got to be creative. You have to be creative, and you have to find a way to win. Sometimes you may have to get dirty just like them, but
Hmm.
hey, it's winning. you know.
I love it, man. I mean, I worked pretty closely with Coach Dossman growing up, just at the church, and I knew his family very well, his grandson Tommy, and
Yeah, Tommy.
yeah, I know what you mean, and here's the thing about Ville Platte, and I share it with audiences around the country when I have opportunities to speak. Ville Platte's the second poorest town in the country, or
Yes.
at least at one time it was, it was ranked the second poorest town in the country. But there have been so many people of our people, black men, black women, that have come out of that town and did some great things. The
Yes.
second poorest town. I
Hmm.
mean, we got doctors, we got attorneys, we got
Yes.
engineers, we got
Yes.
medical professionals, and that's just not to say that those are the only type of people that can do something in life, because we got we got everything. We got
Hmm.
people that have worked
Yes.
offshore that have done some great things and really risen above their circumstances. And so, I mean, what are your thoughts on that? About our people, how they have endured and how they have persevered.
Well, I could give my own experience. Actually, it's all about hard work, perseverance. It's all about putting your mind and not letting that town define who you are. I knew. Hey, you know what? I knew that I could be a headliner. I knew that. I knew that. Even though I was from Ville Platte, I knew I had the wits, I had the charisma. I knew that I could rise above it all. I mean, it's just like whenever I lived in LA, you know, how can a country boy like you, I mean, do something in LA? But hey, you know what? Hey, I found out the culture, I blend in well, and after that, I use what I've learned in Ville Platte to make it more acceptable. So I mean, I didn't let what Ville Platte didn't have define who I was.
Hmm. I love it. I
I
love it,
was.
man. What are some of the issues you feel, I guess, most called to address?
The issue to address a lot is the lack of information, is the lack of resources, the lack of opportunity, and that's a lot of things that I address. It's just like at the Boys and Girls Club. Whenever I was there, I volunteered there, and I seen a lack of opportunity because I wasn't at the in the suburbs. A lot of people say, yeah, go over there in the suburbs. I said no. Send me either the third ward, fifth ward, South Park. Send me there. Send me to the people that really needs me. I don't want to go in the suburbs. Send me there. Send me to a place where I could help some people, and that's where I went. I went to South Park, and I went and I knew a lot of kids had a lot of issues there, and I was glad that I was able to help because my mind was, if I could help one if I could help one kid, if I could inspire one kid, I think that one, it could lead to 10, that 10 could lead to like 100, 100 could lead to 1,000, 1,000 could lead to 10,000, 10,000 could lead to 100,000. Next thing you know, hey, we got the whole world, we just inspired the whole world. And
Mm.
so I feel that over there, there was a lot of issues, and over there, I really addressed it. Now they told me over there, hey, you can't be talking about these issues and that issue and that issues. I was like, okay, well, if I don't talk about these issues with those kids, then they won't learn nothing. You know, they gonna go through life not learning nothing. So we used to talk about issues and all that stuff. Actually, I took the kids
Oh, wow.
on a protest in 2000 at the Huntsville prison. Whenever this guy was being executed, Gary Graham, I took the kids on a field trip there, and they was like, "You shouldn't be taking these kids there. No, no, they need to learn about that, And I gave them my view on the death penalty, that I was totally that me I'm totally against it, because I told them that I was totally against it because we as black people, we don't get a fair trial. So I told them my views on that, and I told them about the justice system, how the justice system works, so they could be prepared for it. So that's what I told them.
Mm. And so, of course, you did that. You know, you took the field trip to the prison. What are some other things that you did to, I guess, have those kids, to mentor them or uh well, no, let me ask you this. How did they receive you initially? How did those kids receive you initially when
Okay.
you're like assigned a group and here come Mr. Thomas?
Uh-huh. I'm gonna tell you a story about that. It's a crazy story. Okay, I was a student at the University of Houston, and they told me that hey, you got to do some kind of like service. So okay, so I chose that. Man, the Boys and Girls Club. I mean, it's like I said earlier, I could have chose River Oaks, or in the suburbs, but no, I chose
Hmm.
I chose the hood. So okay, I went in there the first day, and boy, did I stunk up the joint. I stunk up the joint. These kids wore me out. I mean, these kids was coming at me, like hardcore. I mean, I stunk up the joint. I mean, I was like,
Were they
man,
like disrespectful or
oh,
were they just a lot of
disrespectful and
energy or what?
everything. Yeah, yeah. I mean, disrespectful and all of that. So I was like, okay. So I asked the counselor, I'm like, okay, how do I get these kids? She said, you better figure it out. It's the head person. You better figure it out. So I'm like, okay, because I had them on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. I said, okay, it was Monday. I took the whole day and I figured it out. Found out strategies and all that stuff. I even called my mother, like, how do you discipline? How do you get kids to follow you? And I figured it out. I'm like, okay, I came in there and man, I had these kids listening to me and everything. I came in there like full throttle, like, okay, I got y'all now. I use what I learned in the core. I use I use how my mama disciplined, and it worked.
Wow.
And it worked. And actually, I kind of took an approach and like, okay, let me be that guy that they could come to, that they
Hmm.
could talk to about anything, about any issue and stuff. And I heard some some stuff that wasn't right, and I was like, oh my God, you know. And I heard it, and I was like, man, I was kind of hurt, but I was like, okay, now I have to be helpful. So it was kind of like a trial and error, but I think I overcame that. And right now, this day, I see a lot of kids that I mentor there, and I met this one guy. He I met this one guy, and he introduced me to his wife and kids, and I was like, wow,
Wow, that's
I
cool.
I did that. I said, wow, I did that. So.
Hmm. And I'm just curious, what did he say like in his introduction? Did he say anything
Oh,
in particular or
well,
that
actually, I
just
was
stood out?
at the store, and he recognized me. I didn't recognize him because it was like 15 years. I knew him as like a kid. He was like skinny, but he was a little. He looked a little different. He looked a little different, and he said, "Yeah, I'm so." I said, "Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. I remember you and all that stuff." And he just said, "Yeah, man, I'm working. I went to college, and I'm working now. I have a job now. I got two kids. I'm married and everything." I said, "Wow, congratulations. I'm proud of you. It made me proud. I kind of like wanted to shed a tear in front of him, but me
Hmm.
being that tough guy, I held it in.
Yeah, that's good stuff. Good stuff. And so, how do you decide like what issues are worth speaking up on?
It depends on the situation. I mean, it depends on the time, like what's going on. Like in 2020, there was a lot of police brutality, police issues, and all that stuff, and I focus a lot on that. Just like George Floyd in 2020. I went and protest. like just about every day downtown Houston, and because, I felt that this could happen to me. It could happen to like a lot of black men because, one out of every three the black men, is subject to be in police brutality. It happens a lot, so I figured that hey, you know what? I need to stand up. I need to step up, you know, and because this stuff, it has to stop, So George Floyd, I mean, whenever George Floyd, Trayvon Martin, and all that stuff, I was like focusing a lot on that. But I figured that it was bigger than George Floyd. It was a lot about us, not getting in the doors like we are the less hired and the most
Hmm.
fired. A lot, like it was a lot of issues. If you see my videos, I posted about gentrification. About neighborhoods being gentrified. It was a lot of issues. So so really, it's all about like what's going on and so. But I touch on miseducation, gentrification. I touch on redlining. I touch on these banks, not giving us loan. I touch on the status quo, on how the status quo is.
Okay. So I guess what today is April 28th, 2026. In your
2026.
mind, what's the I guess the prominent issue? What's something that, is a high priority right now that you want to
Um,
address or
um,
you think it's important to
actually,
address?
actually, it's a lot of it's the gentrification is one of them. Immigration issues because not only do I do it just for blacks, but I also stand up for immigration issues.
So I'm gonna
Immigration
stop
issues.
you. I'm gonna stop you right there because I think this might be a good question. They got some of us black people that are like, hey, that's not our issue. Let them, let that race handle that. And if there's another issue, let that one handle that. What are your thoughts about that type of mentality?
Actually, I mean, everybody is entitled to their opinion or something,
Hmm.
and I respect people's opinion about it, but I feel like Dr. King said, where there's an injustice somewhere is a threat to justice everywhere. So
Hmm.
so when there's an injustice, we have to stand up for it. We have to stand up for it, no matter who it is. We have to stand up. It's just like, I feel that white people need to stand up for black people. I feel that straight people need to stand up for gay people. I mean, Americans need to stand up for non-Americans. I feel that men need to step up for women. So I do all of that. It's all about our fight. And all of us should be cohesively, and we all need to stand up together and fight and stand up together and fight because guess what? Because it's just like somebody said. If my house is burning, I hope I hope my neighbors around me, they come and they help you and they help out. I hope that they concerned because your house could burn too.
Mm. I love what you said about Dr. King, because, yeah, you know, can't just say, well, that's their problem because, those that hold the power, they don't, they're not, they're all about the power. So, eventually they're going to be coming our way, and
Yes,
so that's why it's
exactly.
so important to fight.
And you're right
And
about that. I
mhm,
was about to say that.
yeah, so yeah, I mean, this is so good, and I just want to tell people, we had a hard time getting on, but this has definitely been worth it because the
Okay.
conversation so far has been fantastic. I see my cousin is chiming in. She said, "You plant your seed, they will not forget you." In regards to your story about the young man that grew up and had a family, and just really appreciated the work you did with them. And so, yeah, man, just keep it up. And so, with all of that, do you ever get tired of the type of work that you're doing, your activism? Like, do you feel like, man, I care too much? Maybe I just need to fall back.
No, no, I don't. I mean, actually, right now, um, I'm working in my community right now, in my HOA right now, and I'm in my community. I'm organizing people, and in the meetings, hey, I'm talking about stuff about I'm talking about security. I'm talking about certain things that's going on. It's just like in my neighborhood, they built a Motel 6 right there in front of my neighborhood, and you know what it brings, a Motel 6. And me, I was over there, trying to get them, to stop the building of it. They still built it, but I I wrote a letter to them, hoping that, okay, now you build this hotel, hoping that you support the local schools, and you support the children in that neighborhood. Since you're making money in this neighborhood, you need to support it. You know. So no, I mean, what? I don't get tired. I mean, I do less of it now than I did in my 20s and 30s, but I'm still doing it. But I'm hoping that the next generation, they could do the same thing, and that's what I'm
Mm.
hoping.
And so, how do you think we do that, though? How do we engage the next generation? How do we get them to see how important it is?
Actually, what we what we have to do, we have to give them a platform. We have to give them a platform, and then we have to engage them, and we have to teach them. Instead of us, pointing the finger at them and all that stuff, we have to engage them in the right way, because I mean, the same way, if the elders had did me, you know, they talked to us and told us the importance of it, and that's what we have to do.
Mm, okay. I know it's a lot of times people will talk negatively about young people. What are your thoughts on, I guess, the current state of young people?
Um, well, my thing about young people is, I mean, I have a daughter that's 28 years old, and that's one thing I can say. They are a lot of they are technically advanced, and they're a lot smarter as far as like academic wise. But I think I think the thing is, we holding on too long, and we're not letting them flourish. We're not letting them, spread their wings and all that stuff. I think we have to let them, spread their wings. We talk about, it's just like, their music, their rap music. We talk about, oh, their rap is whack and all that stuff. That's just their way of expression. Is the older folks talked about our music.
Definitely.
They talked about our music like, well, you listen to that noise,
Mhm.
and me, I found myself at one time, I'm talking about them, and then I realized, like, you know what? Maybe if I listen to them, maybe if I listen, maybe if I become more engaged, maybe, I can understand them. And I think, that's what we have to do.
Hmm. Yeah, I agree. I agree. I mean, there's a lot of talented young people out there, and
Very talented.
yeah, they can't function like it's the '90s, and there's no need for them to function like it's the '90s.
No.
And if we had the same things that they had, we probably would have had the same issues. And so,
Yes.
we can't hold the technology or whatever else against them. And the funny thing is, people talk about phones and social media and everything, but hey, if I go somewhere, I see adults on their phone, you know?
I'm one
Yeah.
of them.
Yeah, exactly. All of us are. And so it's
Uh-huh.
not where that's the age that we're in right now.
Mhm.
And so we have to embrace it. And so um as far as, young men, and I just want to say, uh, I don't want to say just young men, but as black men, what do you feel like, as somebody that has been an activist, what can we as black men do to better our communities?
Well, is just, be involved, be a good example. I mean, set good examples, and just, hey, you know what, set good examples, and all that stuff. I mean, that's what we have to do. It's just like us growing up, we seen the example of men. We seen men be men. We seen men act like men. We seen men, like, hey, took care of their families and all that stuff. So that's what we have to do. That's what we have to do, is just be that example, be that positive, example.
Mhm. Man, this is all so good. And so we're getting close to the end, man. And so this has been fantastic. You have anything that's kind of in the works, or any projects or anything like that, or
Um,
a focus like that you're about to change the world with?
well, actually, I'm working on something right now at the Sunnyside Youth Center. I'm working with it's with the lady that's running that center, and I'm going to get like a lot of young men from the age of 8 to 15, and we're going to have a meeting like every Monday or Tuesday. We're going to teach them things about life, teach them how to tie, teach them how to wear a suit, teach them how to shine their shoes and all that stuff. Teach them how to have class, how to dress, what to do when they go out on a date. We're gonna teach them about girlfriends, about about things that's going on and stuff. So that's what I'm working on. I should get it kicked off maybe early like 2027. Actually, they have to do a background check on me because I'm gonna be dealing with kids, so they have to do all that. But that should be that should be clear. But I'm working on all that. They trying to get me to get a room and all that stuff in a day. So I'm working on that. But also too, I travel the world and stuff, and I show people how people are living around the world and all that
Mhm.
stuff. So I travel to Brazil, El Salvador, Africa, Kenya, Ghana, and all that stuff. Showing
Yeah.
people about the castle, Kenya, about the Masi tribe. We went to see them and stuff. So I mean, I show people all of that because a lot of people don't travel. A lot of people
Hmm.
don't. a lot of people don't want to travel, but so some people travel through me. So that's one work of activism
Yeah.
there, where people seeing this.
Man, that's great. And honestly, yeah, I've seen you post videos and pictures, and I'm like, whoa, he's over there, and it's very informative. So
Yeah,
I thank you and appreciate you so much for doing that, because it opens my eyes, and I'm like, well, hey, if Kefus can go, maybe I can go one day,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
and
exactly.
experience that and learn more about our
Hmm.
history and our roots and that sort of thing. And so and that's some of the things that just intrigued me about you. Like, man, I would like to
Thank you.
get him on my show and just hear your thoughts on a number of things. And so again, I appreciate you coming on,
Okay.
because this was fantastic. And like I was saying earlier, we had the enemy, I guess, trying to work not to get you on and everything, but hey, we good, we did it. And so, man,
Yes.
I
Okay.
appreciate your flexibility and
And thank you.
perseverance. Yeah, man, it was great, man. And yeah, like you were saying earlier, we came from the same hometown, but we never really kicked it or anything. So
No.
this is the most by far that we've ever talked and communicated. And so
Well, maybe homecoming.
yeah,
You get to see each other. Maybe homecoming.
yeah. So again, man, I appreciate you, and I really applaud all the work that you're doing. And
Okay.
so,
Thank you.
oh, you're
And
welcome.
also, you too. I'm watching you. Doing um, is it Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I see you. I see you. Man. You working with kids and all that stuff. I really enjoy that a lot.
Well, I appreciate it, man. And it all, we both got roots in the same place, and I think we got
Yes.
the same heart, for wanting to see our people overcome those that's less fortunate, or that society is counting out. We
Hmm.
want to see them rise to the top, or at least overcome their circumstances. And so, again, man, I just appreciate you. And so we're going to just wrap this up.
All right. Thank you.
Yes, yes, sir. And so there you have it, folks. Activist Kefus Thomas, currently located in Houston. If you're out in H-Town, you might want to look him up, man. This is a good dude. He does great things for the community. And this is the type of man that we need in our communities, that some of you may be inspired by watching this, man. So definitely try to link up with him if you're in that area. And so with that being said, I will see you next time. Change happens one person at a time, 1 second at a time. Let's go.